and welcome back again to this video. In this video, we are going to install VMware management server that is called the vCenter server, which manages the entire virtualization environment where we actually can manage multiple ESXi servers from one console. The main difference is we have seen this is the ESXi console. Here we can create VMs on a particular ESXi server because we are connecting to one at a time. You see here we are giving the ESXi servers, one ESXi server IP address. How can we communicate to multiple ESXi servers at a time from one console? And that's vCenter server. So to the vCenter server, we can add multiple ESXi server and we can create VMs on anywhere we want. And we can not only just that, we can do a lot of other things, which you will see in my following videos. But for this video, let's install the vCenter server on this ESXi server. So for that, what we have to go is we have to go to the one which we downloaded, the ISO image. And you see this is the vCenter server ISO image. It is 4.25 gig. And I'm going to double click on it so that it will be just mounted. I'm not going to use it or create any VM on the ESXi server. I can, but this is nothing but one appliance already given to us. This is an appliance. It's not just an ISO image with a disk image, but it is already an appliance which can be directly installed on the ESXi server as a virtual machine. So it has also got a GUI installer. For our simplicity for installing a vCenter server, there is an installer is given. Let's see how it works. So double click on this, and this is now mounted as a disk here. And if you see that VCSA UI installer, right? Go and open that folder, and here for various Windows, Mac and Linux, there are 3 different folders available. I'll go to Mac, and you can go to Windows or Linux, whatever your laptop environment is. Laptop OS is Mac for me. And installer app, I'll just double click. This is going to open up a vCenter server installer app. This is as a client rather. So here install, upgrade, migrate, restore, and so on and so forth. So for us right now it is a fresh environment, so I'm going to install. Click install, and now deploy the appliance, which is inside the appliance is there. Actually, you can see it here. There is a VSA file, VCSA. You see this is the OVA file. This is actually the vCenter server appliance, which is going to be installed on the ESXi server. So let's go here, deploy the appliance, go to next and accept the license agreement. Next. Here, embedded platform service controller. Look here, the external platform service controller, if you are using there is some services, this is using the external appliance, external service controller if you're using this, the architecture. But we are going to use, because this is a small environment, we are going to use the embedded, which is already given to us. It is embedded platform service controller, which is given here in this software. We're going to use that. So click embedded platform. Next, and the FQDN or IP address of the ESXi host. So this is the server which will be actually installed as a VM on an ESXi server. So we have that IP address 192.168.1.1 1.4. 443 is the HTTPS port, and username is root, and password is my password, and you give a password which is you have given during installation or you might have changed later in at the console. Next, this is a certificate warning and accept. Click yes, and validating. This is validated, that means it is able to now communicate with the ESXi, and give a name, anything you can give. So VMware, I'll give VMware vCenter Server Appliance. So I'll make it smaller, VMware vCenter, or I can actually call it vCenter Server. Simple. This is my vCenter server, and what root password, this is going to be an operating system also, right? So what will be the operating systems? So this, there are, I'll tell why I'm emphasizing this. There will be two passwords. One is the operating system password, another will be the server password. So here I'm giving the root password through which you can actually SSH to the VM itself. So here I'm giving the root password, same. For the simplicity, I am using the same password for everywhere. Next, and okay, the deployment size, tiny, storage size default tiny. If you see here, it will assign 2 vCPUs and it will assign 10 gig of RAM. So in an environment where I have, in my ESX itself, I have assigned 16 gig. So from that, it will take 10 gig of RAM, and it can, you see here, it can manage up to 10 hosts, 10 ESXi servers, and it can have up to 100 VMs. So this will be suitable for us. It's a tiny environment, and this is actually a sizing guide, how you want to size your vCenter server. And if in a small environment, which will be 4 vCPUs and 16 gig of RAM, you can manage up to 340 gig of storage, and it can manage up to 100 ESXi hosts and 1000 VMs. Based on that, actually, so this is a minimum actually. Yeah, that does not mean that it cannot go beyond this. So this will be minimum requirement, 340 gig of storage. I'll select tiny here, and storage size default, okay, for my environment. And where I'm going to install this vCenter server. You see here data center 1, there's no storage at all, just so I'm going to choose vCenter data store 2, where there are 512 gig of RAM storage, 512 gig of storage is available. 5 3 is 510. Okay, enable thin disk mode. Again, this thin disk is actually same, the dynamically allocated storage. So thin and thick. Thick disk mode is if all the storage will be allocated at this time during creation of the VM. But if you enable thin disk, that means it will be a thin disk. You can see what is that. A thin provision disk does not pre-allocate all the space. Okay, so that's all. If you are using vSAN cluster, this is a different topic altogether. vSAN cluster, I will not speak about it. It is out of scope for this particular video, so I will not speak about it. But if you are using vSAN cluster and you want to have kind of vCenter, VMware migrations, that vMotion kind of without having a vSAN is used kind of when you don't have a common storage and you want to still have a vMotion, then vSAN actually enable that. So not only just that, that is one feature. There are other features also vSAN gives. So that we're not going to speak. So go to next. Here if you see here, uh, I have a network here, right? If you see here, there were two networks, right? Here, networking, we have two networks, VM network and management network, right? Management network is already taken by just the management, and because this is a VM, it is going to be sitting in the VM network. So here I have selected, it's by default in fact selected. I'll move my, okay, it's a VM network, and that's all. And IPv4 static, IP assignment will be static, and FQDN optional, and IP address. So I'm going to give a static IP address to this particular vCenter server. So 192.168.1 dot, and this will be specific to the VM network IP address. Okay, so 1 dot, let me give it as 5. And you can have the FQD if you are using a DNS server, and if you can validate that FQDN you have with a DNS server, then you can use FQDN, or otherwise you are very well 192.168.1.5, we can give both the same, through which it will be accessed. Okay, so subnet mask 255.255.255.0, default gateway 192.168.1.1, DNS server 192.168.1.1, and your DNS server, if you at all any, you can give comma, and you can give any other if you want. If you're using the FQDN, and this is very important for your server to be recognized with your FQDN. So command ports are open, and that's all. DNS server, okay, I have one DNS server, so next. And that's all. It is giving all the summary of what you have just selected, and finish. Here, so this stage, this installation has two stages. This is the stage 1, and this is just going to create this VM for us. And so this is the deploying of the appliance. We can see that here itself. You see here there is a virtual machine. Previously it used to be 0, and now it is 1, and the one which we just created here, we have given a name called vCenter server. It is actually creating a VM with the same name, and this will continue. Creation of this VM will be continued, and let's see how much time it will take. It will take some time, 5%. So I'm going to pause my video here, and I'll be coming back once this installation is over, and then we'll proceed from there. And let us see. Okay. I don't know my installation. I'm not able to pause. So I don't know why this is screen recording. I think it should pause actually. Okay, I'll stop it here and I'll come back in my next video um, for the next stage. Thanks for watching.